So I watched that. I watched Code 8 Part 2. Now, I love the first Code 8 movie. I know it was a funded project from Stephen Amell and Robbie Amell, but I really love that first movie. So I was excited for the sequel. I will say this, though. This shows how bad Netflix is when it comes to marketing their movies. I didn't even realize it was even dropping this week. Like, I found it on my, like, it was showing the first one on my site, and it made me, and like, I remembered, oh yeah, they're doing a sequel. Like, I forgot that they even had a second one coming out this year. So I mean, Netflix really needs to do a better job of marketing their movies. If you're gonna like put these movies on your streaming service, marketing them a little bit better so people know that they're coming out. Because I didn't realize it was even coming out. Well, I forgot they even said they were doing a second movie. But let me start with the positives. I think Stephen Amell and Robert Amell are still good in this movie. I still like the characters. I like the world they built in the first one. I think overall the special effects look really good. I think the special effects look really good in the first one too. So, and you know, there's some decent action scenes. I don't think the action stands out as much as it does in the first movie, and it's not as much action like there was in the first movie. But there's like some decent once in a while action scenes in here, but nothing like that stands out. Now let me get into the negatives. Is that I did feel a lack of connection to the story and characters in this one compared to the first one. I feel like the first movie had a more of an emotional story to it, and with this movie, it's just the story kind of. I just didn't feel like I was connecting to the story in this one as much, and the characters I felt like didn't get too much. I feel like they didn't get really any development in this movie. Like you get a little bit into Stephen Amell's character in one scene in the movie where he talks about his brothers, but it's kind of like surface level, and I feel like they don't go deep enough. And the bad guy in this movie is kind of forgettable. And another thing about this movie is it does like the first movie kind of had a heist vibe towards it in it, which I really loved. In this movie, it kind of really goes into like because I know a lot of people said the first movie kind of felt like X-Men, like the idea of okay, all these power people that are mistreated because they're different, and they definitely go more into that in this one. But that also kind of makes it feel a bit generic at times. Like this movie does feel a bit generic. Like it just doesn't really. There's nothing like particularly memorable about this movie, or it makes it stand out like the first movie. So it's like one of those sequels where I was like, yeah, I had a decent time with it, but it's not one I would go back and rewatch again like the first movie. Like if they did a third one, I would check out the third one because I still like the world and the characters. But it just felt like to me there was a lack of like emotional connection in this one to the characters compared to the first movie. So overall, I would say check out Code 8 Part 2 on Netflix. It's not a movie I would say is great. And for me, it is a step down from the first movie. Again, still enjoyed it. I don't think it's bad or anything. And if they did a third one, I'll be interested to check out the third one because I like the world and the characters. Another negative thing with this movie for me is that the story with the Robbie Mills character and the girl he's trying to protect, I felt like you needed more scenes between them to really feel the connection between the two characters. And this movie's not. I don't think this movie's even 2 hours. I think it's like an hour 40 minutes. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong on that in the comments. But I think you could have made this movie a little bit longer to kind of I don't know get buy more into the connection between Robbie Mills character and the kid. So like I said, overall enjoyed the movie, decent, not great. It's definitely I'll say this, it's one of Netflix's better movies, but it's like one of the middle road movies for me with Netflix. So it's like it didn't stick with me afterwards. There's nothing particularly like memorable about the character's story or the Aston. It does, like I said, turn into a bit of a generic movie where I've seen elements of the story before. But overall, I think I have a decent time with it, but nothing special. So that's my review for Code 8 Part 2. Until next time, movie fans.